Take 5 breaths. Something I've been meaning to ask you. Is it true that OT8 can only be obtained while trapped on their ship? And while getting OT8, these Scientologists are constantly regged between sessions. If it's true, what are the registrars selling people who have reached OT8? Haven't they already paid for every course and bit of text Scientology has to offer in order to get to the OT8 level? Okay, thanks for asking this, because this has shown some points here that need to be, filled in that are, I guess, maybe, not widely understood. So let's go ahead and get into this. No, you do not have to have done everything in order to get up to OT8. There is in Scientology this thing called the Bridge to Total Freedom, and it is a chart, and it has the auditing side and the training side of Scientology services. But that chart does not show every single service that Scientology offers, or at least you don't have to. All those services aren't on those step-by-step progression as you move on up the line. And we'll talk about some specifics of that in a minute. So you can go up the auditing side of that bridge where you start at the purification rundown, objectives, grade 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, clear, OT 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can do all those services without really getting over on the training side very much or very high. There's a couple lower level training services that everybody's kind of required to do, but after that, you don't have to become an auditor in Scientology in order to go up to OT8. So when you get to OT8 and they've sold you all the auditing they can sell you, you bet they're going to try to sell you that training. They're going to try to sell you all the materials. They're going to try to sell you services that are not on that grade chart that are auditing services also. For example, a thing called superpower, right, which is this series of rundowns or actions that you do at that great big huge monstrosity of a building that they built in Clearwater. You also have something called the cause resurgence rundown, which happens on the top floor of that big monstrous building that they built, and that consists of running around a pole in the dark for hours at a time. Right, the pole's lit up and you run around this track, and it's supposed to cause some sort of spiritual resurgence and experience for you. And so, of course, after running around a pole, I'm sure you're in a brilliant trance-like state, and you're running around in the dark, and you're getting physically exhausted and probably mentally exhausted too, until you have some awesome resurgence, and then this is interpreted as this wonderful spiritual experience. So that is called the cause resurgence rundown, and this couple $1,000 for the privilege of doing that. So those things they can sell you. There are also, you're right, that the only place you can do OT8 is on this ship, and the ship is called the Free Winds, and it sails around down in Aruba, the ABC Islands, St. Bart's and Curacao, the ABC Islands. So it sails around down there in the Mediterranean, and there are courses that are offered on the Free Winds that you can do when you're not in session doing your OT8, and they'll try to sell you the full gamut of those services, and they have a couple other things they do there, but mainly it's OT8. That's the main reason that ship was purchased and is sailing around. So the main thing that they are regging you for when you're on the ship is not for services, though. The main thing that they're regging you for is trying to get you to donate money to is just straight donations to the International Association of Scientologists, the IAS. It's a Scientology's membership group, and it's just a flat-out money grab. That's all it is, and you get status levels. That's your return on investment for giving money to the IAS. Is you get a label, you get a status, right? Patron meritorious, patron gloritorious, patron platinum, patron Dragon Nostos. I mean, it's whatever, right? And that's just money that you're basically burning. You're just throwing it away, because when you give money to the IAS, you have no idea where it's going. You have no idea what it's going to be used for, and you just basically on faith taking that David Miscavige and the church are going to use that money constructively to do disaster relief, to provide illiteracy programs, to bring the Scientology's anti-drug program education and Narconon to get people off drugs and all this. None of these things work. They're all ridiculous, and very little IAS money even goes to those things in the first place. But there are IAS grants that will be given to these groups, but for the most part, the money is gathered up, and I don't really know where it goes. So the only person who really does is David Miscavige and some select people at the upper levels of Scientology. So certainly are not transparent. There's no transparency to the donors or the parishioners, and no reporting ever on where that money goes. So, Scientologists are taking a major leap of faith in giving money to the IAS. And when you're a captive audience on the free winds, where you literally cannot go anywhere else and they can track you down to your cabin or to the dining room or wherever you're going to be on the ship, then they have you and they will reg you. They will work you over for hours at a time on a nearly daily basis. And that is one of the reasons why a lot of people really got fed up with Scientology and with ever going to the free winds, because they knew that that was going to be the environment they were going to be in. No Scientologist enjoys that, and a lot of them just pull the plug and hit the eject button at that point because they just can't take the crap anymore. So anyway, that is how that all works.